Hey guys, welcome to the Captain Fizz and Mask Guy show. Today on the show we'll be talking with Danny from CWE here in Winnipeg, and we'll be discussing the Legends of Wrestling convention coming up on February 18th. So just sit back, listen to our music, and we'll be back in a moment.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Captain Fizz and Mask Guy show. I am Captain Fizz.
And greetings once again from the 7th Moon of Thunder. I am that Mask Guy. If we're laughing a little bit here, it's because we are pre-recording this episode and we've already had a lot of fun, just trying to get this far, so...
Yes, and today we are joined by Danny from CWE, who's joining us by phone.
By phone, yes. So Danny, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and, talk a little bit about CWE.
Well, first and foremost, you're getting it right on the second take, which is pretty good, because I had to produce some wrestlers that take about 10 to 20 takes on some of their promos, so you guys are ahead of the curve.
Woohoo!
Yes, my name's Danny Warren. I perform as Hotshot Danny Duggan, and we run Canadian Wrestling's Elite here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. We just celebrated our 8th year in operations a couple days ago, and we've been touring around Canada and making a lot of noise. So with that following, we're stepping into a whole new venture and bringing the first ever professional wrestling and sports convention to Central and Western Canada. So we're really excited about that. We got that going on February 18th. And as of right now, we've got 15 celebrity guests spanning the world of professional wrestling, the NHL, and the CFL. So we're super excited about what's coming up here in town.
Yeah, we, on our episode last week, we kind of went over a bit of the list. And I gotta admit, as a lifelong pro wrestling fan, I absolutely was geeking out just on the, a number of the names that were on that list. So, could you, perhaps just go over, some of the names just to kind of, refresh the memories of our listeners?
Now you're putting my mind to the test.
Yeah, I'm going to put your mind to the test on this one.
We got 3 Winnipeg Blue Bomber alumni. We've got Brett McNeil, Troy Westwood, who's also a wrestling alumni, as he has performed in some matches for Canadian Wrestling Elite over the past couple of years, and Chris Walby. And on the NHL side of things, we've got Trevor Kidd and NHL original 6 legend Ab McDonald, who will be in the building signing autographs and taking pictures. And then on the wrestling side of things, we've got territory wrestling legend, the grappler Len Denton, Cyrus of ECW and WWF fame, Leapin' Lanny Poffo, also known as the Genius, will be in the building. AWA legend Baron Von Raschke will be presented by 123prove.ca at their table. And then on the CWE side of things, we have the most famous voice in professional wrestling, the Fink, Howard Finkel, will be in the building signing autographs, taking pictures, and doing personalized ring introductions for those that are interested in having their name announced by the famous Fink. We will have Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, the man who main evented WrestleMania 1. My favorite tag team of all time, the Brainbusters, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. The greatest manager of all time, Bobby the Brain Heenan. And our headlining guest, arguably one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
It's an amazing list. I'm not a huge wrestler fan myself, but definitely a lot of those names are very familiar.
Oh God, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, probably the greatest professional wrestler to never turn heel during his entire career. And I think arguably one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And I don't know, I don't think his WWE career really did, him justice. I mean, that's just my personal opinion on the guy. I think I think he deserved much better. But I mean, how can you get much better than his WrestleMania 3 matchup with Macho Man Randy Savage, which is, I think, up till recently considered to be the greatest matchup in WrestleMania history.
Well, talking to wrestling purists, it's up in the air. People say the greatest match of all time is either Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage at WrestleMania 3, or they say it's Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair in their 60-minute match for the NWA World Title. So, regardless of what company you're talking about, Ricky Steamboat's still at the helm of that discussion with either operation. So that speaks volumes of Ricky's work.
Yeah, absolutely. So other than the guests, what are some things we can expect at the convention this year?
Well, it's our first one, so we're really trial and erroring a bunch of different concepts and see what sticks and what doesn't. We've been involved with the Central Canadian Comic Con for about 3-4 years now, bringing them their wrestling guests each and every year. So we're kind of branching out and doing our own personalized convention. So on top of the guests all being available for autographs and photo opportunities, a lot of the guests are going to be available for 1-hour Q&A sessions as well. So you get to sit in a room and ask questions face-to-face with a lot of these legends you have to grow up watching. So that's a really exciting thing we're looking forward to. And there's going to be multiple vendors there, promoting different genres of business, different collectibles and card shops. So there's going to be all kinds of cool stuff in the building for sports memorabilia, wrestling memorabilia, toy collectors, and things of that nature. So for us guys that are big on nostalgia, it's going to be a really cool environment for the day.
I can't wait. So where did Legends of Wrestling come from?
Well, it came from the concept of the conventions, one that's very popular in a lot of the U.S. markets, but it's just never been done out this way in Central Canada. Now that we've built up such a strong base with our touring model, we figured we'd give it an opportunity because with our touring model, we're on the road for 1, 2, 3 weeks at a time, and unfortunately, a lot of these legends aren't getting on the road and doing that loop with us anymore. So a lot of fans aren't getting the opportunity to see these wrestlers that they grew up watching. So we figured we'd present an opportunity here in Winnipeg, with Winnipeg being such a big AWA and WWF town from back in the heyday, to give fans the opportunity to see these stars they grew up watching. So when we start compiling the list, we start talking of the Ricky Steamboats and the Bobby the Brain Heenans and the Baron Von Raschke's. Those are the legends of wrestling. So the concept named itself, and it's been getting a great response so far.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that there is a specific deal that you can get. My wife was telling me something about this, where I think it's where, correct me if I'm wrong, where if you spend $150, you get to get autographs or something from all of the guests.
That'd be the convention super ticket. These are a very limited ticket, and it's a hot ticket item. There's only 150 of them being printed, and they're being sold for only $150, and I believe they're just under $500 value. And with that ticket, you get a autograph and photo opportunity with all 10 official convention guests. 10 of those 15 we named are officially with the CWE convention, 5 are with private vendors. So the 10 that are officially with the convention, you get a photo op with that guest, you get an autograph picture with that guest, you get free entry into their Q&A, you get free entry into the convention, and then there'll be a special skip the line, super ticket VIP line, where if you hold that ticket, you get first in line before the general admission people. So not only are you getting all those items with it, you don't have to wait for them either. So you can get your picture, you can get your autograph, and you can move on to the next thing in the convention without spending too much time in line, waiting in the back, trying to get that opportunity. So if you're one of those 150 ticket holders, you're guaranteed a front of the line spot and a whole lot of cool stuff that comes with it. So it's a real good bang for your buck.
That actually sounds pretty awesome. So this is going to be an all-day event, right?
Yeah, the doors open at 10 a.m. and we're going right till 8 p.m. and the guests are all going to be scheduled throughout the day. We're currently working on that scheduling right now to make it most convenient and economical for people to spend their time there and make sure they get everybody's autograph and picture they'd like to get throughout the day.
Wow.
I'm just kind of soaking in on all this. I guess I don't know, I'm gonna go through our list here because so I guess and that, you know what, I'm gonna kind of skip over our questions. I've actually had the privilege of actually seeing you wrestle on a couple of occasions. And I guess we'll kind of go a little bit away from the convention for a moment. I wanted to know what some of your favorite experiences in the business have been so far?
I've been very blessed. I just celebrated my 14th year in the business as a professional wrestler, and just the last year alone has been really crazy for me. Back at the end of October, I got to wrestle my first match in that WWE ring, which was really cool, doing that down in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Getting to spend 3 days down at the WWE Performance Center earlier last year, last February, was a really cool experience. Having the opportunity just to travel the world and do what you love to do, being to Japan a few times now, getting to compete for Ring of Honor, I think just under a dozen times now. I've been very lucky to be in a lot of major league locker rooms and wrestle a lot of major league guys. So when you get into the business, those are the things you dream of doing, and I've been able to check them off one by one. So I've been along for a really exciting ride so far.
Maybe what's the performance center like? I've heard a little bit of it, but I'm curious of what your experience was there.
It was a really cool experience. It's a real state-of-the-art building, and it's everything they make it out to be, or everything it sounds to be. It is. When I broke into the business, for those familiar with Winnipeg, I was trained in a building that was probably should have been, if it hasn't been already, condemned on Sutherland Avenue. We had a ring inside an old building with walls that were falling apart, mold in the basement, lights that didn't work, and it was far from glamorous. The Performance Center is on the complete other end of the spectrum. They've got 5 rings, state-of-the-art production. They've got an entranceway right in the building to work on your entrances, cameras for you to work and practice in front of, a promo room for you to tape and record your promos. So it's really cool, and it's definitely night and day from what a lot of us break into the business. When we break in, what we train under, just trying to get involved. So it's a really cool opportunity for anybody that gets the opportunity to go there, because you've got all the tools right in front of you to become a star. So if you don't take advantage of them, that's not on you. That's on you, because everything is being supplied right there in person.
That sounds like an amazing experience.
Yeah, most definitely is, and we all get into professional wrestling. We all get into professional wrestling as a fan of WWE in some fashion or another. So to be able to step into their building and train in their ring is a super cool thing.
Okay. I guess my next question is, who are some of the more famous wrestlers that you've been in the ring with, and what were your experiences with some of them? I mean, there's some wrestlers that are out there who have really good reputations, and there's some that absolutely if you listen to the rumors, absolutely are terrible. And I guess are your experiences with some of the more famous wrestlers, shall we say, have they all been good experiences?
Yeah, I'd say for the most part, there's good experiences, just like anybody. I've heard of bad experiences, and as a promoter for 8 years, I think we've imported at least 50 to 60 guys who've been on WWE television at some point or another to headline our events. And I want to say maybe outside of 1 or 2, they were all very pleasant. And I find as long as you're approaching people in a professional manner and you're professional on your end, you usually get that reciprocated. So we've got a good reputation here in CWE of being a good place to work and never having to deal with any funny business. So people come here and they know they're getting themselves involved with something good. So we've never really had to worry about that too much. I've been very blessed with everybody I've wrestled with to never have any issue, whether it be working with legends like Hacksaw Jim Duggan or Jake the Snake Roberts, to guys that are on TV are very popular now, like Kenny Omega or the Tyler Breezes of the world, or even Emma I've been in the ring with before she went to WWE. Whether it be the old guys or the new guys, if you approach this like a business and you're professional and you're courteous of the people you're working with, it's always reciprocated. So I've been very lucky that I've never had any bad experiences with any of the names I've worked with.
You mentioned Jake the Snake Roberts. I guess, what's Jake like? Does he literally come across the way he does in a lot of the on TV and the documentaries that have been out, or is he more a humble person? Or
Jake was super cool. I was on tour with him in Newfoundland for about 2 weeks, and I wrestled him, I want to say, almost every night, minus a couple on that tour. And he was in good spirits every day. And I've definitely heard the horror stories over the years of him being difficult to deal with. And I don't know if we just lucked out and got him at a better period of time. And I know he was clean and sober when he was on the road with us. And he was nothing but pleasant. And I have nothing but great memories of wrestling with Jake, because every time I got in the ring with him, it was fun. Like he was trying to make us laugh. He was ribbing us in the ring, and we tried to rib him back. And we just had a good time. We were having more fun than we were wrestling out there. So he was always super cool and just a fountain of knowledge.